Maybe I didn't get them printed off.
Yeah, no, I did, yeah.
I was blaming myself.
Nope, I just wanted to give you guys a big sheet, I just wanted to make you aware of it. I hadn't implemented, another thing I'm really thankful, you guys, when we go to Leadership Mitchell County, so I was out there Wednesday, Thursday, really learned a lot, it was a great time, but I kind of a little bit short implemented some of the changes from Tuesday, but I will. But I figured it'd be a good time for you guys to build really, if you're like me, look at it on paper and really be able to, put little questions or question marks, and I fully hope and expect you'll stop by or give me a call or shoot me an email or whatever it is, so that I can, if I miss something or something doesn't make any sense or whatever. There's a lot of things on there, and I want a lot of eyes looking at it before I start stuffing it into more. What's there? So in here, kind of two different ways. One's categorized pretty well by department, and they already have one, so they'll take one. And the other one is just kind of, it's more of just the actual ranking matrix. The other one's the one by year, which you're going to have flushed it out by year yet, but again, just two different ways of looking at it, and maybe some of the bid estimates or that type of thing. Again, if you see something, what does the FAA say? See something, say something type of thing, so that'll help me make sure that I get it right for, I use Mandy's Excel guru-ness, and we start getting this all laid out and mapped out here a little bit.
What is your hope, I guess, as far as the timeline? When are you hoping you'll have the initial stuff to present to us for the first piece?
I would say, I would hope, by the first part of November, to have that done. Because I'm not really waiting on a whole lot besides just, the time to sit down and kind of crunch it out. So yeah, if we, if by the end of September here, next week and a half, you guys really looked at it and said, hey, we kind of got those questions out of the way, then I could just go and start, plugging and doing kind of what I think would be the right thing. And then I can get it back to you guys to kind of show you the first 5 years, and next group would be 5 to 10 years, the future type stuff. So, and again, this is really, it's called CIP, but it's really just an overall project gathering tool. Projects and kind of everything's put in there, but we will have it categorized by funding source, and I'll eventually put some columns in there to talk about, our share of the cost or grant opportunities or whatever. Again, like I said, at the bottom, once we have it mapped out by year, kind of what that would look like, where those dollars would have to come from, and how that affects us, to do some of that. So, but again, just look at the rankings, look at the projects. I thought of one this afternoon, I can't remember it, but I don't. There's going to still be some trickling in, and obviously it always will. That's all I've got, Tom.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the power plant Bobcat. Sounds like we lost our lead.
Yeah, so we kind of want to get this to you guys on the work session, just so we got some discussion first and some guidance. As you saw in the write-up, we've had a Bobcat at the power plant for several years. I think this is our second one now.
It's the second new one that we released.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those programs, you pay so much a year, about $1,500, and every 2 years or so, they would swap it out and give us a new one. We had bought all the attachments, they would just give us a new model. And I'm guessing the numbers or something wasn't working really well, and so Bennington State Bank was the one running the lease program for this particular deal for Bobcat, and they kind of gave us 3 options basically of either buying this one through their financing, Bobcats, or through their lease purchase program, or start over with a brand new one, or Bennington State Bank basically offered us some terms to just buy it outright. So we were kind of at a loss. It's kind of a different animal to chew on. We've got citywide. We have, including this one, we have 4 skid loaders in operation. One of them that the transportation department, one of them the electric department has out in the field, and then one of them is the water sewer guys have one. And so this is one of those that hours-wise, it doesn't have a ton of hours on it, but it's one of those you need something there to be able to, like Mandy's pointed out, to move the heavy stuff up and around and use it for piping. And it's kind of I would rather trailer it from there to other places that may need it in a pinch than have to trailer it there, because they're kind of just working on stuff and we need it, and use it to lift stuff. And so It's primarily for the power plant. I think it replaced a really ancient one that you guys used to have there,
Yes.
so. You know, it's one of those that it would definitely run for many years. We could run it, you know, until it quit type of thing. And that could be, you know, 20 years from now or even longer, or we can see what its value is, you know, several years from now, because, yeah, it costs us some money, but obviously it has some value there, so I don't think it's depreciating only $1,500 a year like we were paying before, but it's definitely not, you know, if in 2 years from now, for some reason we decided to trade it off, it's not like we lost the whole $33,000, it's gonna have some pretty solid value there, but, so,
You say we've got 4,
for citywide, yep.
do we need 4 citywide?
Yeah, that's a great question, you know.
I mean, I'm looking at, you know, going ahead and buying this one,
Sure,
and then,
let one off base.
because, you know, if 2 of them
Yeah.
have a lot of hours on them, maybe trade those 2 in on a new one, do our rotation.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point, Kent, because I guess what I was kind of getting at too, I think that's what you're getting at, is it would probably be easier for out in the field to perhaps share more of them. Again, I haven't talked to all the department heads about it, we just kind of talked about this here in the last week. Then that one's kind of inside the pin there, you know, it's a little bit tougher to get out in the field, but yeah, there's 3 out there, there's water, you know, water and sewer and transportation and electric, do they need them all at the same time, I don't know.
I got one thing. We use also the Bobcat when we work on heavy equipment. We service all the heavy equipment. When we get a skid steer or something down there that's broke down, if we take heavy stuff off of it, we move it with our Bobcat. So you'd have 2 Bobcats occupied at a time. So if you had 4, a lot of times the equipment breaks down when you need it. You know, a lot of times they work on streets and stuff, and then they bring it down for us to work on it, then we need ours to work on that. So, you know, that's kind of,
Yeah, again, it happens, so I haven't explored that whole equipment usage, but yeah, this one,
And the cost of the Bobcat's $32,000.
this one, yes.
I guess that, I'm supportive of the idea, my only concern is the impact on the budgeting. Is this, will it basically, because of the financing on the 60, I think it was 60 month or whatever I saw in there, would it sort of wash out approximately the same as what we were paying, or how would that affect the budget? I guess that's my bottom line.
Because we were only paying $1,500.
Right, so that's what I'm trying to get at, is how that affects, I mean, it's gonna be a greater
Yeah.
impact than we anticipated, that's my only concern.
Yeah,
Would you want to buy it through the bank again for a 3-year payment then? Is that the way?
that's the one I would do, it seems like it's the cheapest cost and in the long run. And I think, Manny, did they say that the first payment wouldn't be due till 18?
they said they would work with us, whatever would work for us. If we want to make the down payment, we could make the first payment next year, beginning of next year, whatever would work for us. They also left the option out there to buy it, you know, to pay monthly, but that's going to stretch it out for 60 months again. I think the option is fairly good. The Bobcat was estimated over $50,000 when we first got it, with the government discounts, so it's a pretty good piece of equipment for that amount of money.
One question, the attachments, do they work with any other units, or is it just mainly for this one?
And yeah, I think it works with the one that the street department has, that smaller Bobcat.
Okay.
But a lot of times, you know, it doesn't have the teeth on the bucket. We used to help out, push some mud by down under there when it was all, you know, flooded out. So,
Because we've already made that investment, you know, that equipment, and if we don't have a machine that we can use it on, it's sort of a wasted investment.
That would be the question I would have, you know, shopping around and say, hey, John Deere, whoever, do they have a good deal? I don't know if that stuff would work on a Deere.
Most of them will change.
Okay,
The main thing is you gotta change all your hydraulic couplings.
okay,
Like one at the power plant won't change with electrics.
okay.
So you've gotta buy the adapters.
Chapters, yeah.
And the one we've got, we share with Park and Rec.
That's one of the things that we need to look at down the road, is getting equipment that will interchange.
Right.
Sure, yeah. And that's the thing, even, you know, is what Steve highlighted on right there, Park and Recs, who need a skid loader a lot, doesn't even have one, so they're always pulling from one of the ones that's available, so, you know, it's for the magic number, I don't know, but.
So those hydraulics, you could use adapters then?
Right. The equipment will switch over. It's just the different hydraulic couplings that are different from Bobcat machine compared to the John Deere.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that expensive.
No.
No, it'll all switch over.
And they could use it.
So do you want a direction?
Well, yeah, because the third option, which I didn't have time to do yet, is to go out and see if there's any other specials out there.
Well, I
you
just
know.
say, for lack of a better word, what does Bobcat of Salina have to offer?
Well, it wouldn't be Bobcat Line, it'd be, you know, Murphy of Wichita, or whoever, you know, or I don't, this Volvo, you know, I don't, Scott done something.
No, he'd have been here if he's selling something.
Yeah, but you know, that's what I was looking at, because obviously Bobcat, we know what Bobcat has, really, it's just more of a, see if there's any other, you know, case or whoever, I don't, you know, that has anything, you know, the next 2 weeks, we kinda told Dave that we're gonna need a little bit of time here to figure out what we wanna do. The nice thing is we know this machine, but,
Well, there again, if you go to a case or another brand, you're talking about the compatibility of the
yeah, no, I understand that.
auxiliaries.
But I'm like you, we know what this machine is, we know the history, you know, it's been very well maintained.
We know this machine's quirks, we don't necessarily know someone else's machine's quirks.
Yeah, you know, if you compare and use, but you know, if you go looking for new, you're gonna be back up there towards the 50,000 versus the 33.
Kind of looking at the future, I
Yeah.
don't think we should buy attachments without buying a machine. Kind of back yourself into a corner.
Yeah, you do. I think the thing I would comment back at that is that a lot of these vendors, as we had it with Cat, got you hooked. They started making 5 or 6 years ago this stinking lease thing. Oh, it's only $2,000 and we'll swap it out. So then we, as a city, we thought, well, back in the night, we did the same thing. We'll buy all the attachments and then we'll just own that and then we'll just keep swapping it out forever. Well, I think even up there, the Cat kind of pulled the rug out from under us too. So I know what you're saying, but that's probably what the thought process was. But,
Yeah, next time.
yeah, next time, you know, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
And then if we bought the machine, Bobcat said if we had it, we owned it in 3 years or so, if it still has low hours, we can do kind of what Click Clark's doing, you know, exchange it for a new one every year, you know, and just pay very little amount and you have a new machine every time. Not necessarily we need to do that because it has low hours and it would last forever, but it's an option that's out there, so.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have a lot of value, so that would.
I would support it for purchasing it, so.
I agree.
We'll bring it to formal action next time.
Any other?
At our meeting we had at the technical college, that last week, Stuart had mentioned about if we are looking at possibly down the road doing something up there on North Walnut,
Yeah.
to maybe going ahead and have them start the plans.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if down the road, a year or 2 years, we decide to pull the trigger,
Yeah,
all that would be done,
yep,
and then we could just send out for bids.
yep.
I'm just wondering if we ought to really start taking.
Yeah, and that would be fine, I mean,
Because Mike told us up there at that meeting, he's looking at maybe that only lasting 2 years as
Yeah.
a band-aid at the
Yeah.
longest.
Yep.
Well, if we start getting a lot more things taking place up there at campus, there's gonna be a lot more traffic
sure.
on that road, and I'm just thinking maybe we ought to have Stuart do that.
Start the design work part of
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely gauge and see if he can give us an idea what that would cost and then get him in here to talk about that. Because we're supposed to have any day, and I need to talk to Blake today about it, the traffic counts from all those. Because I think that just helps solidify, 'cause I think we got a couple that are, you know, we got West Main and North Walton, they're all pretty close, it needs some stuff, but that might help differentiate those two a little bit. And then, yeah, go ahead and get that done, and we can have that done by spring, and have it pounded out, we might have an idea of when we could then put it in place, so, yeah, I can start that conversation and get him here next meeting to talk about that, so.
So are we talking about a total rebuild, new, tear it all the way down?
East
like
Main?
East Main?
I,
Yeah, that type.
oh, I'm sorry.
North Walnut.
North Walnut, I think that's what the idea is just with the ditches, that seems like ditch roads always seem.
Well, that comes
For the
into
sub-base.
the safe routes to school, where we can start put the sidewalk in up there and taking it on down to the football field.
Yeah. I think the thing with North Walnut that is interesting, first of all, the ditches and the drainage issues, but also the curves, the way they're oriented, and the roads going into it, there's some unsafe things there, and then you have pedestrian crossings. And with North Campus, that gets built out, there's gonna be, you know, maybe some need for some middle turning lanes or some ideas, even with the high school there, I mean, there's, so I think that's, yeah.
Then we can start using that project.
Would it be possible to tie that in with a big project with West Main? because, you know, there's a lot of taxpayers all the way out there that have a rough road.
Yeah,
And that's basically up there, city and school property for the most part, all the way up through there.
sure.
It'd be nice to get those people on West Main
Yeah.
some relief, because that's the worst street in town.
Yeah, you got both, or, you know, to do both would be about $4 million. So, yeah, I don't think it's a closed budget, yeah, we can definitely, and we can, you know, have them work on designing both. don't
Well, I think that's where your traffic count usually comes in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, what's getting used the
yeah, yep, so, yeah, I'll probably I'll check with Cliff, see when the traffic counts are supposed to be here, that'll probably be the first thing you guys want to know before we say, Stuart, spend some money and get that done, so that might, yeah, dictate either or whatever, so, yeah.
I guess I just have one quick question.
Yep.
Last council meeting, we tabled action on the camera unit, and I noticed it wasn't in part of this week. I just wondered where we stood on that moving forward.
I almost made it. That was my fault, I just completely forgot.
They
about
still have it?
Yeah, they do. Jim, yeah, about 3 o'clock this afternoon, I was like, oh, I forgot that. Can't we